Good evening. I'm Bill Maley, Brighton Town Supervisor, and I'm pleased to welcome you to tonight's June 23rd, 2021 meeting of the Brighton Town Board. We are again conducting this meeting remotely on Zoom. It's being broadcast in Brighton on Spectrum Cable Channel 1303 and live streamed on the town's YouTube channel in compliance with Governor Cuomo's executive order modifying certain of the provisions of the state open meetings law to enable local government bodies to continue to meet remotely in a way that is open and accessible to the public. We do continue to do that by starting each meeting with an open forum. When the open forum begins, and tonight that will be after a presentation updating our work on the town's diversity, equity, and inclusion plan. If you're already on the Zoom link, you may be in the waiting room, and you will be invited into the meeting to ask your question or give your comment. If you're watching on Spectrum, I would ask if you would like to speak with us, go to the town's website, select live streaming, and click the Zoom link, and that will get you onto the live stream watching this Zoom. And again, you'll be placed in a waiting room and then invited in to ask your question. And as always, you can also call us at 303-3060. Bridget will take your call and pass along your comments or your questions to me. As always, we make our meetings accessible to the deaf and hard of hearing community with our ASL interpreters. Allie and Heather, thank you both. We appreciate your work. And as a reminder, the agenda for tonight's meeting, as it is always, is up on the town's webpage. Those are the materials we use in making our decisions and also the actual resolutions that we expect to be acting on tonight. Again, you can see those at www.townofbrighton.org. We'll start the meeting tonight with the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Just a couple of updates. Yesterday, of course, was primary election day. And first, I want to thank everyone who made sure that those primary elections ran as smoothly as possible. First and foremost, here in Brighton, that's our town clerk, Dan Amon. During the days and weeks and even months leading up to every election, and especially so during the pandemic, Dan may seem calm on the surface, but underneath the water, he's paddling like all get out. Making sure all the polling places are available, all the election inspector coordination is all set, answering all the questions, working with the Board of Elections. It's a lot of work, and you make it look seamless, Dan. Thank you very much, and thank you to the Monroe County Board of Elections. Also, I want to thank the people that won their primary elections yesterday. We have Christine Corrado and Robin Wilt, who won primary elections for the town board. But I also want to thank everyone who entered the arena by running for office. Paraphrasing President Teddy Roosevelt, quote, "The credit belongs to the person who is actually in the arena." I reflect on what is consistently the low turnout in primary elections. And I think too often we talk about primaries, we call them primaries, and not really focus on what they are. They are primary elections. They're not limited to some, power broker elite group. They're elections that are for anyone registered in a given political party. And the results of those primary elections matter. Every person registered to vote as a member of a political party is entitled to vote if that party has a primary election. And very often, for example, as we saw last night in the primary election for mayor in the city of Rochester, it is the primary election that decides who will be formally elected in November. But even though those primary elections, and the mayor's election last night is a good example, they can be more decisive than the general election in the fall, voter turnout is generally far, far less. So my final thanks goes to everyone that did come out and vote in the primary election yesterday. If you're registered in a party that was having a primary election, but it may be a small thing, but I do want to encourage us all to use the full name, primary election, to remind voters that these are elections, just as important, if not more so, as the general elections in November. This coming Monday, June 28th at 10 a.m., the town of Brighton will unfurl our pride flag here at Town Hall. All are invited, of course, as we celebrate our LGBTQ community. And we're doing it on June 28th because that is the anniversary of what some call the Stonewall riots. The Stonewall Inn was a bar in New York City, down in Greenwich Village, raided by the police early in the morning on June 28th, 1969. And the patrons of the bar fought back effectively. They had had enough of interference, police raids, and the like. And over the next couple of days, the activities that have in some circles become known as the Stonewall riots really effectively marked the beginnings of what was then called the Gay Liberation Movement, later known as Gay Pride, and now simply as Pride. I think we can all celebrate the great Pride events, not only here in the town of Brighton, but across our region. Then finally, as I do at each meeting, I want to talk briefly about lawn and garden debris pickup, a much more mundane and prosaic topic, but very important because it really affects how our neighborhoods look, and it affects our ability to provide the services that you as residents want from us. Just a reminder that on the town's webpage, there's a link to our lawn and garden and leaf pickup section. When you get there, there are maps that will give you a heads up on where our pickup crews are going to be over the next few days. And there's one map for bulk debris pickup, one map for containerized pickup. And whenever possible, we do strongly encourage you to containerize your debris, either in trash cans or in the big brown paper bags that you can get at hardware stores. If you've got small quantities of debris and you simply leave them on the street, it slows our bulk crews down, sort of makes the neighborhood, your street, a little messier. So if you can, containerize those small quantities. Obviously, if you do have a large quantity of material and you want to leave it in bulk, that's fine. Don't put it in the street. You can leave it in the tree lawn between the sidewalk and the street, or on your front lawn itself if you don't have a sidewalk. But again, please don't pile them into the street. As we know, we talk about it, but it's true. Those, when you get debris piles in the street, they can become a danger for motorists, for bicyclists. They can cause, visibility issues. They can cause drainage issues. So for all those reasons, leave your debris up on your lawn. And remember, we don't pick up grass clippings. Grass clippings should be left in your yard to fertilize your lawn. Okay. Now, as I mentioned earlier, we are going to go next to a presentation and an update on the town's Inclusion, Diversity, and Equity Plan. Gwen Inc. has been working with us as our diversity consultant, helping the community, helping our IDEA board work to develop an inclusion, diversity, and equity plan for the town. And tonight from Gwen Inc., we have Gwen Weber McLeod and Kathy Adams, who are here to give us an update on the status of that. So I will turn it over, I'm guessing, to you first, Gwen, and look forward to hearing your presentation.
Great. Well, I want to thank you so much, Supervisor Miley and the town board, for inviting us here. I think you met us the first time when we were being introduced to you early into the engagement of this project. And I want to let you know that even through all of the challenges of COVID, that your appointed IDEA board, the group of citizens that you organized to help work on this plan, have been very, very busy. And we committed to you that we would show up to present to you again when we were at a certain benchmark. And we're at a very important juncture in the project. And we think that this is a great time to bring forward an update on the progress that your IDEA Advisory Board has been making. My colleague, Kathy Adams, who is the Senior Consultant for Organization Development, is with me this evening and will be sharing just a few slides to let you know where we are. So this is a very high-level view. And then Supervisor Melee, if there's time afterwards and you'd like to invite the town board to ask any questions or seek any clarification, know that we are always open to that. So Kathy, when you're ready, I am ready. So the first slide is just to kind of to remind the town board and the community members who are watching this via stream of the specific tasks that we were engaged to do. So my company, Gwen Inc., specializes in diversity strategy, helping all kinds of organizations, government entities really think strategically about how they will demonstrate commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion in all aspects of their work, and to leverage these ideas and concepts in the overall achievement, in your case, of your community's goals. So these four things were what we were specifically engaged to do: to design and facilitate all of the meetings connected to the IDEA board, to look at the kind of training that might be needed by your staff at some point in the future to sustain these goals and strategies that will come forward with this plan. And in addition to that, we've been doing various opportunities of talking with the board and the town supervisor, and I think some of the senior staff in the town as well, about what it means to have the responsibility to lead and manage change. And because for all intent and purposes, the onboarding of your diversity plan will trigger a certain amount of change in your community, as do all other plans that you are currently acting on. The heartbeat of our project really was about supporting, creating the framework, the environment for the IDEA board to do what they were primarily charged to do, which was to develop an inclusion, diversity, equity plan for consideration by the town, and upon approval to be used to guide the town's decision making about how it will demonstrate this commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion in all aspects of its work. And another component of our project would be to review strategically identified town operations and policies in regard to inclusion, diversity, equity, to ensure that the town is also aware of best practices in specific areas. As of today, As we mentioned, you have engaged a diverse group of board members from across your community to actually serve on the idea board. As of our presentation to you tonight, we've actually met with this group of people for over 20 meetings to date, and they've been working really, really hard. And if you were to be watching us work with them, you would see them engaged in these activities. The Idea Board held multiple community engagement events, and those events included using a facilitation process called the World Cafe, where we invited community members to come in and learn about this initiative and to give us input from their own point of view and perspectives about what they feel the community needs to understand about establishing a commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion, and also to provide us with additional ideas about what should be considered in your plan. Some of our idea board members, because our goal was to make sure that we engaged as many diverse populations in the town of Brighton in this process, held virtual focus groups with smaller targeted populations of people who live in the town of Brighton. And another thing you would see the idea board engaged in is making connections with existing community groups to invite them to give us some input and guidance about the plan, but also to identify what they're already working on so that we can make sure that our plans are in alignment and it will spark future opportunities for collaboration. And we believe in all of those areas that it will be important to continue community engagement in various ways once the plan is moving forward. The other thing that we've spent a significant amount of time to doing is analyzing those inputs, leaning on the information and expertise of the members of the idea board. And we're now at the place where we've identified strategic priorities, goals, and strategies for the town board's consideration. And then we'll be working on moving forward with looking at what is going to be required to engage in implementation of the plan. I want to tell you something that we experienced is very exciting because in preparation for taking on the town of Brighton as a client, my company actually started to look at other towns, cities that may have already created diversity, equity, and inclusion plans. And interestingly enough, we couldn't find that many, but we did come across one for the town of Beaverton. And we actually invited their folks, their diversity person on the staff, and the chair of their diversity advisory board into one of our meetings to share with us a bit about their plan and the joy and challenge that it took for them to develop it. And I think bringing that information into your process was inspiring, gave us some courage to keep pressing on, and also how your advisory board finesse their ideas and their thinking. So that was another exciting opportunity. So we're looking at and what we want to make you aware of at this point are what are the recommendation categories. And we're also naming those community members who have shown, we volunteered to chair these very areas. So we had 3 task force who focused on some strategically identified areas. In my company, when we're talking about a strategic priority, in short, we're inviting people to think about, in your case, what must the town of Brighton focus on and do in order to demonstrate commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion. So a lot of hard work, many conversations, some research and analysis, we landed in these areas. So we have a task force that's focused on infrastructure and housing and public safety, which is being chaired by Amy C. We have Task Force 2 that's chaired by Laura Weaver, who is focusing on engagement and partnerships, inclusion and representation, and the idea of education and celebration. And again, I want to remind you that we're talking about this in terms at the town level. Task Force 3 is chaired by Chris Hildebrandt, and they're focused on economics, economic development, and will be working with us to look at the policies, practices that need to be taken into consideration. I'm honored to say that at this point, the overall idea board is being co-chaired by Sarah Johnstone and Dr. Rashid. So we're very excited about it. So we wanted to share with you a visual that would make it easier for you to ingest, to digest So where we are at this point and what our strategic intent is moving forward. So you see where we are right now. We're doing our report to you to give you an update. Um, in early July, the IDEA board will start to prioritize the recommendations by year. So what we're inviting them to do is to think strategically about this potentially being over a 36-month period, and where would they recommend the town start to focus its energies across that time frame. In mid-July, our goal is to do a plenary session to discuss potential implementation plans with town board members and key department heads. And the goal here is to start positioning to work in partnership and collaboration preparation for implementing the plan at the point of approval. Your community members who are on the advisory board have been using their best ideas, looking at this through the lens of best practice and their expertise to identify some key recommendations. However, those recommendations will only be as successful as creating shared understanding what would be required for the town to implement any of these ideas and feasibility. So it's at this point that we'll begin the process of formally educating both staff and town board members about what's coming forward in the plan so we can start to think together about where could you act on first and the feasibility of these ideas. Between July and August, our goal is to have the respective task groups meet with department heads and or committees that would actually be the place where these recommendations would be processed for formal activation. And the goal with that is to create a more small group targeted experience between idea boards and members of your staff so that we can start to take even a deeper look at which ideas would be feasible to move into action across this recommended time frame. Our goal is to make sure that we're presenting ideas that make sense to the town, that align with your mission, vision, values, and of even greater importance or equal importance is that also give lift to your existing plan, that it doesn't work in competition or decrease value of the plan. We believe that diversity, equity, and inclusion is a strategic resource that when activated properly gives lift to our goal going on in this case in the town. And between August and September, we're hoping to be positioned enough and gotten to a place to have them placed into your budget discussions. Now, this carry to be monitoring where we are along this process to ensure that by the time this plan starts to head in your direction as members of the town board for the engagement, that we have properly developed the plan, vetted it to make sure that overarching plans. Is that the final? We have one more. In touch with me through and regular contact with us, and also through Robin, who thank you so much, Robin, for being the liaison from the town board to this project. My final pieces of information for you is one that we are actively working on designing a website that will feature all of this work that you're doing in this space and as a way to keep the community informed about the progress being made. And the other idea that we want to offer up for your consideration is that we're being very tactical and strategic about the development of this plan because although Robin is your liaison to the project, through the lens of best practice, diversity, equity, and inclusion plans really require the full support and commitment from every leader, in your case, in town government, the town board, and your staff, in order for these ideas to be effective. So this is why we're at the place where we think it's appropriate and important to further educate you not only about the progress being made with this project that you so courageously, because it does take courage to step into this work, decided to do, but now we want to start inviting you to look at it through the lens of a series of business conversations and discussions we'll have with the town board in the proper ways, and give the community another opportunity to engage with the plan so that you fully understand what you're agreeing to do, what this requires of you and what it might take of you as town board members to actually bring these strategic ideas into fruition in the work that you do every day. So that's the end of our formal presentation. Bill, I'm open to taking our stylists that we're always open to questions, comments, concerns, and respectful criticism about our work. We believe that feedback is the breakfast of champions. And so this is such an important project. We would like to hear what's going on in your head, your heart, or your gut if you have time in the agenda for a few questions, Bill.
Thanks. Thank you so much, Gwen. We do. I know we, as often is the case with Zoom, there was a little bit of skipping and freezing up there. I do just want to say that a lot of that calendar that you saw, which is a very aggressive calendar, is being driven, as so much of what we do is driven by our budget cycle.
Right.
We want to make sure that the work and the beginnings of implementation, and perhaps to some extent even before the approval of the full plan, can be reflected as we are simultaneously developing our budget. So
right, and we will make this presentation available to you, Bill, and that, if there are pieces of it because we were freezing up along the way that got missed, again, members, feel free to reach out to us directly. Your colleague Robin Will is right at the table with us when we're getting it done, and Bill's really apprised of what we're doing as well. So we're not going to let technology put us in a position where we don't have shared understanding of this important piece of work.
thanks, Gwen. Are there any questions from any of the board members? Obviously, this is something we're going to be working on a lot over the next couple of months here, but we do want to get your questions. What's on your mind? What's in your gut? Paraphrasing what Gwen just said.
Yes, I have a question. So I understand, Gwen, that the task forces will be feeding their work into the overall idea plan.
Mm-hmm.
Is it anticipated that in addition to the budget aspect, the impact on our thinking about our how we're spending our community's resources, is it anticipated that proposed legislation will come out of this work, or would that be subsequent to the receipt of the plan?
I would be of the opinion with regard to how we're approaching this, Christine, that if there was any subsequent legislation that would need to happen, the plan would inform whether or not you as a town board would need to activate any additional legislation. Robin, you're inside that room. I'm thinking it would be after you get the plan, because the plan is really designed from a framework concept, Christine. So it's not that traditional strategic plan that's going to say by July 3rd, do this. What we've invited these folks to do is to come up with high level concepts, strategic priorities, what they think the town must do, to identify some specific goals that would drive you in the direction of that, and to make some recommendations about high level strategies. So this plan is designed to guide decision making about diversity, equity, and inclusion. And from that perspective that I'm offering, that it would probably be after you've actually received the plan and decided on what aspects of it you're going to activate, that whether or not you needed to consider additional legislation would come forward.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes,
Yeah,
I will add.
Go ahead, Robin.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying I would add that it is very much in the model of the comprehensive plan. It is a comprehensive plan for diversity, equity, and inclusion within our town. And so, while down the road there will be resolutions and policy changes and legislation that comes out of it, at this time it is a very comprehensive view of DEI at the town level.
And again, the goal of this plan is not to tell you what to do. It is to give you some really well thought out information that will be vetted at another level, right? Because we'll share these ideas with your staff to really kind of do the feasibility study piece of it, so that by the time it gets to you and you have a colleague, you'll really have great that give lift. So it'll be in that condition simply to guide your decision making about what you will act on in the future.
And I would just add, given the nature of the legislative process, when we adopt a local law, there's a public hearing. We discuss the reasons for the law. We provide some foundation as to why we're doing it. And I would anticipate that in no small part, in addition to public input, the recommendations in the plan would be a part of the basis, a part of the foundation when we do take action to adopt a law. So that sequence makes sense.
Mhm. I'd invite you to think about the idea board as doing a critical piece of effort, the well thought out, vetted goals, strategies, right? Action steps to consider as you literally start to behave your way to act publicly.
Any other questions from any of our other board members? Well, if not, then thank you, Gwen. Thank you, Kathy. The beauty of Zoom, as frustrated as we sometimes get with it, is that it does allow us to engage with people who are not necessarily in the room with us. And so we appreciate you joining us remotely tonight. And we look forward to what is going to be a very busy summer working on these important issues.
Thank you so much. It's very much so been our honor to take you on as our client. And we are very honored that you entrusted us with this very, very piece of important work. We are committed to your success, and our goal is to make sure that we develop a plan that will certainly support you in this important work and that you'll be proud of. And we believe it's going to make a national mark because we haven't bumped into too many of these plans out there. So we're excited for you and not only what this will do to improve your community, but how it will also position you in relationship to your other colleagues in terms of people who are really taking this important step. So have a good evening. And again, feel free to be in touch with us if you need additional information or have questions.
Thank you, Gwen. And thank you.
Take care.
Okay. We have had one person call in with a question. And we do have a number of people in the waiting room who I believe will have questions or comments, but I want to first address the call. The call is from Marjalemo, and she asks two questions. First, she asks about fines for violations where people do put debris in the street, and I believe the concern is that they then go into the sewer. And she asked why they can't be ticketed or given notice of a violation when the debris is picked up. And I will say that debris that's improperly placed is a challenge for us. One of the things that is very challenging is the time that our crews take to engage with a potential violation, writing up a violation, issuing a ticket on the spot, slows the work down even farther and makes it even more difficult. Everybody knows it is very tough for our crews. Our crews work hard throughout the year, whether it's leaf season, lawn debris season, and we really look, when there are repeat offenders that are really causing either blockages in the street or drainage issues. But we really want rather than to issue violations. The reason that I keep talking about this issue at every single meeting, right at the start, is educational. I know there are people that don't, for example, know that they're not supposed to put the debris in the street. So we want to get that message across. We want to educate. We don't want to be punitive. We just want to ask people to do the right thing. Now, the second question, she asks, what is happening with the bridges, the 590 bridges at Monroe Avenue, and I'll add Allen's Creek Road into that. And let me give you an update on that because this year, the state is doing design work, and stop me, Mike, because you know this as well as I do better. The state is doing design work on the remediation work for those bridges and bridge decks. Their plan is that then next year, based on those designs, they would do the engineering work. And then it gets a little tricky because right now they're not scheduled to do the work. Remember, they've done design work this year, engineering work next year. Right now, their plan has them doing the actual work 2 years after that in 2024. And we have been engaged in discussions with the state. I actually had a discussion just today with Senator Cooney, discussing that schedule and working to try to identify a way that we could move that construction up a year so that the work could be done in 2023. And, you know, Mike, based on our conversations, the DOT is amenable to that. It really becomes a funding issue, getting the money into the project hands in time to do the project. So that's something we're going to continue to work on. Senator Cooney is very much aware of our interest in getting that project moved up. And so we're going to work as hard as we can. They do inspect those bridges, and they've identified them as not posing a hazard. But, you know, listen, let's face it, we all drive down Monroe Avenue. None of us like the looks of them. And that's why we want to see that work commenced and completed as quickly as possible. So that's the overview. We're going to keep pressing and looking forward to some nice new bridges there, but it's going to take some time. It's the nature of large construction projects, and these are large construction projects. Mike, anything else you want to add?
No, Supervisor, I think you hit everything right on the nail. I was pleasantly surprised that the DOT was also looking to step up the schedule if they can.
Great. Okay. Then we will go sequentially, and people will be invited in from the waiting room, and we will hear your comments. So Bridget, if you could invite the first person in. And I believe our first speaker is Alicia Chase. I'm going to go by what their Zoom window says.
All right, there you go. Sorry. Hi, I'm Alicia Chase. I'm a professor of art history, PhD at SUNY Brockport. I am a resident of Cobbs Hill, 120 Castle Bar Road, not a member resident per se of Brighton, but certainly someone who enjoys all of the amenities of 12 Corners and considers it part of my neighborhood more extensively. I am not in support of Planned Parenthood for a number of reasons. I used to be pro-choice. until I began to recognize as a feminist scholar that probably the most anti-feminist institution in our nation is Planned Parenthood, responsible not only for sex selective abortions, but also for then selling body parts to scientific organizations for profit. And truly, if we're in an era when we're trying to say that Black Lives Matter, it's pretty clear from the Guttmacher Institute and the Charlotte Lozier Institute that the people most hurt by abortion are the Black women in our culture and the Black children that never get to live as a result of Planned Parenthood. So I really am against it, and that's about all I have to say. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And we'll invite our next person in from the waiting room. Mr. Roberts. Mr. Roberts, we're not seeing or hearing you at this point.
Oh, no, it's Mrs. Roberts.
I'm so sorry.
But you have my husband's name. Oh, no, that's okay. Can you hear
Welcome.
me now?
Yes, yes.
Okay. But you can't see me.
No, we can't.
Huh. Well, my name is Nancy Roberts, and I'm on Lansdowne Lane in Rochester, 14618.
And I believe that's in the town of Pittsford.
That is correct. With a Brighton zip and East Rochester schools.
Okay. Welcome.
Thank you.
You can share your comments with us.
Okay, yes, I am opposed to the Planned Parenthood coming into Brighton because there is another Planned Parenthood not too far, 5 miles away on University, I understand. And I am opposed to abortions and feel that if there's reproductive services that young women or men may need, they can get those from other sources in an area that's already rich with medical services in Brighton.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Is there anything else you'd like to say, or those are your comments?
Those are my comments right now.
Okay, thank you. And I apologize for the confusion on your name. We'll have our next speaker in from the waiting room. I'm not going to make any assumptions now this time on the name. But if you can share your video with us, and you're welcome to speak.
Hi, thank you for listening. I have a few thoughts about the proposed Planned Parenthood.
Can you share your name with us, please?
Oh, I'm sorry. My name is Bernie Hevron, and I live on 623 Bonnie Bray Avenue in Brighton here.
Thank you.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm just wondering if this is a good time to be supporting a new Planned Parenthood facility. The controversy around this issue is really strong right now. The Supreme Court's going to hear a case from Mississippi that could essentially challenge Roe v. Wade. And I've done a lot of research on healthcare for women in Brighton, and it turns out that that there are Planned Parenthood serves about 2.7 million patients annually, but community health centers serve more than 21 million. Planned Parenthood offers, Pap tests and cancer screenings to 380,000 women each year, whereas the community health centers surpass 1.5 million. Mammograms are not even done at Planned Parenthood. They offer referrals only. Community health services centers provide 424,000 annually. The only service the community health centers do not serve is abortion. And we know that Planned Parenthood offers abortion, about 330,000 per year. That's from the Journal News. The latest annual report from Planned Parenthood says that abortions make up about 96.4% of Planned Parenthood's pregnancy resolution services. I don't know, just for a little comparison, I don't know if you can see that, but this 96.4%, while miscarriage care, adoption referrals, and other prenatal services only accounted for 3.6% of Planned Parenthood's support. In 2019, Planned Parenthood chose to leave the taxpayer-funded Title X program rather than stop performing abortions. The Protect Life rule, also known as the gag rule, was designed to reestablish the original bright line separation between abortion and the use of Title X funding. And when it went into effect, Planned Parenthood decided to withdraw from the Title X. Their willingness to sacrifice Title X funding for family planning so that it could continue to refer and advocate for abortion and even co-locate with abortion facilities demonstrates that Planned Parenthood cares less about helping low-income women than it does about maintaining its lucrative abortion business. Do we need community health care in Brighton? Do we need to educate our young people on reproductive health? Do we need to continue to empower girls and young women to be bold and confident? Absolutely yes. A Planned Parenthood facility in Brighton will present dangers to our neighborhood that we may not be aware of. Do we really want traffic disruptions at an intersection that serves travel to and from Strong Hospital and the University of Rochester every day? Do we want to watch a medical waste truck come in and out of a facility once a week to dispose of body parts from aborted babies? Do we want our children who are not even able to drive a car, drink alcohol, or vote walk into a Planned Parenthood and receive birth control or an abortion without parental consent? It's age 16. Community health care with Title X funding, yes, but Planned Parenthood, for goodness sake, no. Thank you for listening.
Can I have our next speaker then? Yes, I think we have our next speaker in the room. I see Dorina Hayes. Can you hear me? Are you here with us? Ms. Hayes? Now
Supervisor, I put Ms. Hayes back into the waiting room. I'll try her again later.
okay.
And I've just sent Ellen through.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Yes. although we can't see you.
Oh, well, I can fix that, I think. Let's see.
It's okay either way.
Boy.
Just wanted you to know that.
Well, sure, I know I can. You would think I'd be used to it by now, right? There's all this Zoom stuff.
There you are.
Okay, wonderful. All right, well, my name is Ellen Duncan. I reside in the Bel Air neighborhood. And thank you for allowing me to speak here. So I'm with BRAVE, Brighton Residents Against Violence, and I'm also a sidewalk advocate with Rock Level and Abortion. And I will keep things brief and to the point tonight. But on the Brighton town website, it says that the town board determines the levels of service to be provided in the town, and the planning board is to preserve the character and quality of life in the town of Brighton's neighborhood and business areas. If this is what you stand for, and I believe it certainly is, I assure you that you do not want a Planned Parenthood in Brighton. What I want to share with you tonight is what I have seen with my own eyes while I stand outside of the University at Planned Parenthood offering help to men and women. I have seen ambulances roll away post-abortive women on stretchers. I have seen post-abortive women struggle to walk to their cars. I have listened to women as they come out of Planned Parenthood and tell me they told Planned Parenthood they wanted to keep their baby, but Planned Parenthood kept trying to push abortion on them. Their words, not mine. I have listened to women who realize that Planned Parenthood has no prenatal care for women who choose to have their babies. I have listened to women who wanted an ultrasound, but were turned away. Apparently, the University of Planned Parenthood only provides ultrasounds for the purpose of knowing what kind of abortion procedure to provide, not if you want to keep your baby. I have spoken to women who were coerced into having an abortion by their parents or partner. Planned Parenthood did not advocate for them. I have heard multiple times from women who have had abortions in the past, quote, "I wish you were out here when I was going in for my abortion." Well, why? Because Planned Parenthood didn't have any help to their underlying problems like we offer out on the sidewalk. I trust you will listen to these stories that are not my own, but those whom Planned Parenthood claims to serve. Planned Parenthood does not align with our Brighton values of preserving character and quality levels of service, as well as other admirable virtues that I think of when I think of Brighton. Thank you.
Thank you. And if we could have our next speaker, please.
Kate Dominguez is coming in next.
Thank you, Bridget.
Supervisor, in the interest of time, I will also let in Lena Valerio. And if Kate is able to connect, then she could speak after Lena.
That'd be great. Thanks, Bridget.
Okay. I'm sorry, I lost Lena.
She's showing here as.
She is okay, great.
Yep, yep. But Lena, you are muted.
Hi.
Hi.
This
Welcome.
is Lena. Hi, this is Lena Valerio. I live at 3265 East Avenue. And I'm here because obviously I am against Planned Parenthood being built in Brighton. I don't know how long I have, but absolutely there is no place for a place like that to be in Brighton, which obviously promotes murder and full-term abortions. I'm a mother of 3 daughters. I have another one coming on the way, and I don't appreciate tax dollars going to such an organization that is not for the right of life, let alone, in a sense, by plenty. There's no way they're supporting in the history of Planned Parenthood the well-being of the mother and the after effects of a woman. Many women statistically have regretted and also in most cases having an abortion, and Planned Parenthood, which majority of what they do is abortions. And I do not accept the fact that they first of all, they do not show ultrasounds during the beforehand when they are telling the mother to sign off that they're going to go through that with this, and the after effects. There's medical after effects, there's mental after effects. That money should be used to promote healthy things for women and for children in general.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
You're very welcome. It appears that Kate Dominguez is still trying to connect. But there is someone else who has joined us, although they are muted. Someone with the handle Fox Crossing, you are muted, but welcome.
All right.
Yes, we can
Okay.
hear you. We can't see you, but that's okay. Either way.
Oh, I can, let's see. Sorry, I just got connected. I did not know I would be connected. Here we go. All right.
There you are. Now we see you.
Okay, hi. Yes, I would just like to mention.
If you could, if you don't mind, please, if you would share your name and address with us,
Oh,
please.
yes, sorry. My name is Jean Horvath. We live at 15 Gordon Heights Road in Brighton. What I would like to say is, obviously, Brighton has been very outspoken, I think, about concern for human rights. And I think Planned Parenthood has, from its history, been violating human rights. Its founder considered African Americans weeds to be exterminated, in her words. And today, sorry, I was doing my exercises while I was waiting. Our Black population now is half of what it should be because of abortion. Planned Parenthood has been in violation of the law by selling body parts of aborted babies, and in Pittsburgh, not only selling body parts, but the selling to the University of Pittsburgh of aborted babies who are kept alive and then experimented on. In other words, living human beings being sold for experimentation. How do we know that this won't happen in Rochester between Planned Parenthood and the University of Rochester? We really don't know that. There is nothing that Planned Parenthood does that any other clinic in Rochester cannot do. We have 25 free and income-based clinics alone in the Rochester area. I don't think Brighton needs an organization that has been flagrantly breaking the law all across the country. I think anything they do can be done someplace else. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And we'll take our next person. I think that's Marie Brennan.
Hello, can you hear me?
Hello. Yes, we can. We can't see you, but
Oh,
it's your
whoops.
choice.
No, that's fine.
There you are.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much for your time. My reason for being here is I just wanted to express my concern over the Planned Parenthood that, as I understand, is being built at Clinton Crossings there. First off, I should say that I'm a Brighton resident and have been very pleased to be here for about 12 years now with my family, my children. And the reason I wanted to express this concern, especially being in Brighton, is I feel that the values that my family appreciates here are really at risk, allowing an organization such as Planned Parenthood to be in our neighborhood. And what I mean by that is, for example, I thought it was so beautiful just the other day, the Juneteenth celebration and recognition of the end of slavery. And I think there are many efforts being made in this community to appreciate people of all backgrounds. And the reason that I'm connecting this with the Planned Parenthood is, I think as many people know, Planned Parenthood was begun by Margaret Sanger, who it was, I guess, more of a secretive thing during that time, but she had a very strong eugenics purpose in starting Planned Parenthood. It wasn't a unfortunately pure and loving thing that she was doing to assist people in need. And I believe that remains a part of what they do, that it's within everything that they have done since then. And I guess I see Brighton as wanting to be on the cutting edge of truly being a more just neighborhood and loving neighborhood. I feel that in the schools so much for my children. And I really think we could be much more, much less naive in a sense, having a place like that come in while we do. I know of some other pregnancy centers that really look more at the whole picture and make sure that the women coming through their doors are really receiving a true choice in their difficult situation, or not be taken advantage of for profit or whatever it might be. And I'm not saying that everyone at Planned Parenthood has those motives, but I think that's very much ingrained in what that organization does. And the reason I'm bringing this up is I know that for the town board, maybe it's very limited what you can do in regards to, this kind of organization coming here. But I just really think with what they do, especially maybe targeting more minority groups, or just they don't provide OBGYN care for women who come in, as far as I understand. They have very limited options for really supporting a woman and empowering her to make a true choice in a difficult situation of having, maybe a difficult pregnancy or other situations. I think we can do so much better for women to truly support them all around so that they can make that choice freely and not feel coerced into that or stuck in that situation. And I would just encourage that whatever is within the town's power to be done, or to look into this more, and if this is really a good idea, that be done for the sake of women and college students, and also the men involved in these situations. So that's what I have to say, and I hope that you'll take that all into consideration. Thank you.
Thank you very much for coming tonight.
Thank you.
Michael Safran is coming up next.
Thank you.
Hello. There we are. Supervisor Maley, Town Board, good to see you. I offered some comments at last week's planning board meeting, so I won't reiterate the same things. I'm going to assume that
Mr. Saffron, we're getting an echo
I'm
here.
going to assume that you probably see the planning board meeting and or the communication that's submitted. So for tonight, I'm just going to say I support the written statement that was submitted by Carol Cross, very, very detailed. And tonight, in support of BRAVE, the Brighton Residents Against Violence, in opposition to the Planned Parenthood Clinic, just to let you know we're out here. So I'll leave it at that for tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just to let you know we're out here.
Terrence Lester is connecting next.
Bridget, I'm not quite sure. It looks like Mr. Saffron was doing some kind of a screen share.
I thought that he had completed.
Yeah, right. But right now we're not. Can
I
those
can
of
let
you,
him back in. Yes.
No, I was just going to say, are others of you not able to get the full screen? You're not, Robin?
Bill, if you, in your upper right-hand corner, there should be a very small button that says view. And
Yeah.
if you use gallery, you'll see all.
All right, now I'm back. Yep. Okay. Mr. Lester.
Hello, Mr. Lester, are you there?
You appear to be muted. Mr. Lester, we can't hear or see you. I think both your video and your audio are muted.
I'm going to return to Dorina Hayes while we wait to see if Mr. Lester is able to come on.
All right.
Okay.
Yes, Ms.
Can you
Hayes,
hear
yes.
me?
We've
Okay.
got you.
Thank you
Welcome.
for trying again. I'm sorry about that. I'll go really quick since all my batteries are about to die. So my name is Dorina Hayes. I want to write on,
Ms. Hayes, can you, if you don't mind, your address, please? Oh, and now we lost.
Okay. I just really quickly, I want to write on behalf of a former Planned Parenthood patient. I have a daughter who goes to school near where this new facility is supposed to be built. So I want to express my thoughts about the services they offer women of all ages. When I was 15, I was raped and went to get a pregnancy test. And when the nurse came into my room, I fully disclosed to the nurse that I was raped. She did not say anything, but instead planned to schedule an abortion for me with my mom, with my mom. And I think they thought they were sparing me of hardships and having to raise my rapist baby. I went on to have 2 other abortions from 2 different boyfriends. And down the road, from 2 different boyfriends down the road. Sorry, I can tell you firsthand that all of these abortions were the same. It didn't matter that one was from rape and the others weren't. In fact, today I can tell you that the abortion was worse than the rape. I can tell you that the abortions left me depressed and angry. and Planned Parenthood never called to make sure I was okay. I regret my 3 abortions, and I have to live with that every day. And before someone says that that was just my experience, I can share that I stand on the sidewalk near the University of Planned Parenthood, where I speak to numerous of women who share the same experiences as me. And Planned Parenthood is not healthcare. It does not care about women, to me and to other numerous women that I've spoken to. Planned Parenthood is there to profit from young, innocent women and their fear of an unplanned pregnancy and the unknown. In fact, women just need support and told that they can do it. I was about to have my 4th abortion when a pro-life man told me I can do it. And that is all I needed to have the confidence to have that baby. And that baby is now 20 years old, and she goes to RIT and is one of the sweetest girls you'll ever meet. That pro-life man married me, and we have been married for 21 years and have 7 beautiful children together. And Planned Parenthood did nothing but made me depressed and alone. And that is something I never want any other woman or college girls to have experience with. And so Brighton needs to rethink about having a Planned Parenthood there, and it only hurts women. So thank you.
Thank you.
Cecilia is our next speaker.
Cecilia, I think you are muted.
Okay.
There you go. Cecilia, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay.
I wasn't looking to speak, though. I just signed on. I'm sorry.
Okay, no problem. Go ahead. And if you would, share your name and address, please.
Sure. My name is Cecilia Lester, and I live at 25 Eastland Avenue.
Okay.
Thank you. Oh, I wasn't looking to speak. I'm sorry. I don't know if I raised my hand or
sorry.
something by mistake.
I'm sorry. I
just
think we thought you were here to speak. That's fine.
Maybe in a few minutes. I just joined. I don't even know where the conversation is. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt.
Okay. All right. So we'll try to hear Kate Dominguez, who tried to connect a minute ago. Ms. Dominguez, can you hear me? Ms. Dominguez, can you hear us?
This was our last speaker in the waiting room.
Okay. I guess what I would say, Bridget, is this is twice now we've not been able to get a good connection with Ms. Dominguez. If she would like to send us an email with any comments she might like to share, she's certainly welcome to do that. Or if she can connect to us, I don't think she can hear me though. Or if she can, she doesn't appear to be muted, but not hearing her. So maybe you can talk to her back in the waiting room, Bridget. And Cecilia, is there anything you would like to say?
Well, I'm here again because I'm just interested in the turnout for Brighton residents voicing their concern for the proposed Planned Parenthood at Westfall and Clinton. And I already gave remarks at the last board meeting, and I spoke at the town planning meeting briefly.
Okay.
And I would just, I guess, if I had anything to add to that, it would just be that I think that this is contrary to the character of the town. The more that I've heard the people who have said that they're going to be out there protesting, I think this should really concern people from all sides of the issue, because I mean, if you think about it, there's Elmwood Pediatric Group directly across the street from where this is proposed to go. You have Buckland Park, which my family, where we just came from there. That's why I was late signing on here. I mean, we're down there all the time. There's families all the time. And I personally have attended events outside of the University Avenue Planned Parenthood, and they've been peaceful and very respectful to the workers there, respectful to the men and women that enter there. But, you know, we're talking about hundreds of people that gather, and while most of these people are, you know, not carrying images of aborted children, some of them will be carrying images of them. And I, you know, we can't stop that, whether we agree with that or not. We can't stop that. I mean, I personally don't, you know, care to have my children see those images, because I think they're really troubling. But I mean, the fact is there will be people carrying signs like that, and you have to consider that, you know, they are going to go where Planned Parenthood goes. That's just, they come together. Anywhere Planned Parenthood is brought into a community, there are people there to object their presence, and they're there to object their presence for very good reasons and very significant reasons, apart from, you know, whatever it is that you consider to be a right here. You know, this is a controversial organization. And so there's a lot of very, there's just going to be a lot of demonstration there. And I think that's something that the community should be aware of. And the fact that Planned Parenthood is attempting to enter this community very covertly. And if you look up, this is how they do this. They don't give their real names on the deeds. They give very little information about what it is that they're going to be building there until all of a sudden they're there. And so the community has a right to know that this is coming, because this is very disruptive. And so I'm completely opposed to the presence for you know, a number of reasons. I think that this is a racist organization. I think that that's borne out in statistics about how they disproportionately abort Black children. But I also think that they, you know, they're just, whether the activities they're engaged in are legal or illegal, you know, the trafficking of fetal organs and all that, they espouse an ethic that is just not right for a family-friendly community. And there's other places that people can go for the things that they offer apart from abortion, and even abortion. There's already abortion facilities in Brighton. And so I just don't think that, you know, just as I would oppose a strip club if a strip club was to come to Brighton, you know, there's certain things that don't belong here. And I don't believe that that belongs in this town. So I wasn't prepared to speak so quickly. I hope I've made coherent remarks, but thank you for taking the time to listen to what I have to say.
Thank you. Thank you. And I believe we have one more person that will be entering from the waiting room. Yes. Good evening.
Oh, is it my chance to talk?
It is, absolutely.
Oh my
Welcome.
gosh. Oh, I've been waiting for so long. I didn't realize how it worked. I'm a resident of Brighton. I've been a resident of Brighton for 27 years.
Could you just share your name with us, please?
Sure, absolutely. My name is Jessica Shanahan.
Thank you.
I've been also works in Brighton, but we've been residents of Brighton for 27 years. We've lived in the Chelmsford Road area, Allens Creek Road area, and we are on the top of Knollwood Drive presently, which is actually the town of Brighton. And I just recently learned about a Planned Parenthood that would be possibly going in around the corner of South Clinton and Westfall. And I'm sorry, but I'm just new to the meeting because I just got let in and I was not part of anything. I haven't not watched, but I didn't know when I could voice my concerns, because truly I am appalled, alarmed that, you know, the town I pay taxes to would allow a facility that sells baby body parts. It's been proven. I also have ties to Philadelphia, where I went to college, and we have a family home. And just 2 weeks ago, over 500 people protested a Planned Parenthood in Westchester County on a Saturday. And I'm like, and this would be coming to Brighton where my kids go to school. I have 4 children. My husband and I have 4 children. Not the kind of community we want to represent at all. They discriminate against Blacks. They abort Blacks at a very, greater rate than white children. It's just wrong on so many levels. So I was a little surprised because I was doing the dishes and I finally got let in, and I was waiting since 6:15 or something. So,
All right.
but I mean, thank you for listening to me. But I mean, I would hope nothing like this would. I mean, I know that there's another abortionist that does late-term abortions located somewhere around Tops Plaza, but he's a lone operator, and a lone operator is a different thing than the largest abortion provider in the country, in the nation, probably in the world, is Planned Parenthood. So to let that kind of industry into Brighton, very bad. No. And, I'm disgusted by it that we would even be considered. I don't even know. Is that what we were talking about? I don't know. I just heard about it. So, yeah, that's why I'm talking. So.
Okay. Any other thoughts you'd like to share?
Oh my God, I have too many to talk about. I don't even know why that would even be considered. I mean, we have my 3 medical practices are right near there. I wouldn't want any business with the traffic, the protesting, the bad vibes. I mean, and I'm sure there's a lot of Planned Parenthood supporters. I get that. You might be pro-abortion, you might be pro-choice, whatever. You don't want that in your hometown. No, it is too dangerous to touch. And it's gotten to a new level. And I'm saddened, to think that you're even considering that. I don't even know if it's being considered, because I would hope it's not. But, I pay a lot of taxes, and I've been a good citizen. I think I've never called in to your office once, ever, about anything. Maybe one time. And this is really startling. So that's it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Bill, Cecilia Lester has joined, and we had difficulty getting through to a Terrence Lester, so I'm thinking it is probably the same computer user.
Here is Cecilia. Is that the same?
Possibly. It may be the same person as Terrence Lester. Seeing if they can connect to audio. And we don't seem to be having any luck on theirs technology.
Well, again, if they're not able to connect with us live, and it appears that they're not able to, they are certainly free to submit written materials to us.
Okay, and that was the last person in the waiting room.
Okay. Then if there is no one else here for the open forum, we
Bill,
will.
I move that we approve the agenda.
Thank you, Chris. Can I have a second?
Second, Christine.
Any discussion? Hearing none, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DeFazio? Aye. Councilmember Werner?
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt?
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado?
Aye.
Supervisor Manley?
Aye. Okay, we will then go to communications. We have 3 items here tonight. First is from Seth Silver, with whom I had a earlier conversation, and then he shared this letter to me in which he is advocating for voter rights legislation. And the gist of it would be that no person would be allowed to ever wait at the polls longer than 30 minutes. So we appreciate that. And the good news, fortunately, is that at least most of the time here in Brighton and in Monroe County, we are able to do that. But we know that in certain other communities, and particularly in certain other states, and sometimes applied in a way that appears to discriminate against certain areas, certain groups of people, that yes, people are forced to wait much longer than 30 minutes. And that's the basis for Mr. Silver's concern. So the next one is correspondence from Thomas Greiner. And Mr. Greiner's concern is with safety issues from a bus stop on Blossom Road between Bobridge Drive and Blossom Village Drive, very, very close to the Brighton town line, but in the city of Rochester. And his correspondence details a number of concerns that he has. And for folks familiar with that area, that bus stop has been there for quite a long time. But he does raise some concerns and some issues that he believes may be increasingly problematic there at that location. And the third thing we received a letter from Mr. Candelario at the State Canal Corporation advising us that the Canal Corporation has now filed a draft generic environmental impact statement concerning their canal embankment clear cut project. You will recall that a couple of years ago, the towns of Brighton, Pittsford, and Parrington successfully sued the Canal Corporation, blocking their clear cut, not only in our towns, but in towns up and down the canal, because they had failed to do an environmental study. They have now posted a draft generic environmental impact statement. That's something we will take a look at. And I would encourage everyone to read that. And we're going to have to discuss, the implications of it and what it means for the town of Brighton. But they have now prepared that draft generic environmental impact statement under the State Environmental Quality Review Act. And those are our items of correspondence tonight. And I'm sorry, do we have a motion to receive and file those? Can someone make that motion?
So moved. Jason.
Thanks, Jason. In a
Thank you,
second?
Robin.
Thanks, Robin. Any discussion on any of those? Hearing none, Dan, please call the roll on the motion to receive and file.
Councilmember DePonzio,
Aye.
Councilmember Werner,
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt,
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado,
Aye.
Supervisor Mailey.
Aye. We'll go to committee reports. So we'll start with Community Services Committee. Robin?
Thank you, Bill. The Community Services Committee met Wednesday, June 16th, and among the items that we discussed were related to park issues. Our report from Mattman indicated that 3 of the 4 seasonal labor positions have been filled for the summer. Staff assignments have changed to allow a full-time staff member to be on duty during the weekends. And this has been a hugely successful development. An update to the 4th of July fireworks, the Sky Coasters, and the 5K race at Meridian Center Park. will be taking place. The 5K is going to be at the park as opposed to on the streets. We will be reviewing and updating safety protocols based on the most recent updates from the state regard to our 4th of July celebration. We're investigating possibly hosting a vaccine clinic to be held during the fireworks display. And he also reports that capacity has returned to full. Masking will be required for unvaccinated individuals. And an update to our recreation programs. Our summer camps are at capacity. We continue to make adjustments as safety regulations are updated. Our summer concert series was discussed. There's a great lineup of unique events performing starting July 6th. Work continues on the outdoor pool. Staff are working to get it operational for a limited opening this summer. The opening date has not yet been determined, but will be publicized when we are able to confirm. Our bike rodeo planning is underway with the Brighton Police Department, and we're hoping to host the event in mid-July in conjunction with the Brighton Farmers Market. Our Brighton seniors hope to return to in-person programming in the near future. We're working out the best course of action to make their return to in-person programs as safe as possible. And the Brighton Recreation Feasibility Study contract is in for signature. We hope to start work on that soon. The community will be kept up to date with the process, and we look forward to community input and participation. And to our Winter Farmers Market, conversations are underway with the state to fill any potential budget gaps for the project. We just had an update from our Inclusion, Diversity, and Equity Advisory Committee. And the website is under development, as well as continuing conversations regarding who will maintain and update that website. And we had the remainder of the report from Gwen Inc. An update to our community choice aggregation program. Our CCA administrator, Jewel Assets, issued an alert and sign-on letter to oppose petition 19-E-0735 to the public service by National Grid and NYSERDA, which would distribute community solar to low to moderate income customers in National Grid catchment areas. We are discussing that letter. We're also discussing opt-out community solar program with rollout potentially among our home energy, our HEAP customers. And an update to Brighton Safe Streets for All. There was one brief virtual meeting held in recent months. The consensus of the group was that they want to continue work when they can meet in person and identify ways to work with the town on specific projects. There was also an update on the Hopper, the bike share program. There's a location at Meridian that was moved to, out of the public right away on South Winton. There will be 5 locations in Brighton, only one site on town property, and that will be at Brighton Town Hall. And the program has already launched in the city. We did have another update on the Elmwood Avenue cycle track. Representative Morelli did participate in a press conference in the town earlier this week and announced that the Elmwood Avenue multi-use corridor improvement project is advancing in the House of Representatives. This is an $8.6 million project that would create a multi-use path along Elmwood Avenue between the city line and Monroe Avenue in Brighton, and it will connect 4 bicycle facilities in the area. The goal is ultimately to improve accessibility and enhance safety for cyclists, pedestrians, and drivers alike. We had 3 items of new business. There was the potential donation of a bench to the community garden. That being in, our park superintendent will be coordinating and accepting a bench from Councilmember Christine Carro. Thank you so much. With anticipated installation to be near the community garden, but not in the garden itself. Do you think that this will enhance accessibility and also enjoyment of the garden? The Sustainability Oversight Committee did issue a letter, which we reviewed. It was a communication seeking the support of the town in pushing for priority clean energy community grant opportunities. That same letter with supporting materials will be presented at the next Public Works Committee meeting. And Rob Richardson, our CEC coordinator, has been invited to attend that meeting to weigh in on those potential action items. And we have some upcoming events. Of course, we had the Pride flag raising event that will be on Monday, June 28th, that Phil alluded to. And our next semi-annual electronics recycling and secure document shredding event will be on Saturday, October 9th. I know that's quite a big ways in the future, but I know people like to prepare for that. So that's all I have. The next meeting of the Community Services Committee will be on Wednesday, July 21st. That will be at 9:30 a.m. at the Brookside Recreation Center multi-purpose room. And of course, members of the public are invited to attend. We would like some advance notice, and you can definitely call our recreation department in order to facilitate that. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Robin. Finance Administrative Services Committee next, Jason. Oh, Jason, you're me. See, you caught it even before I.
It flashed up on my screen. It said, "You are muted."
Been there, done that.
Oh,
we
yeah.
all have.
But the finance, excuse me, the Finance and Administrative Services Committee met last Wednesday, June 16th. Each of the items that we discussed in committee appear on tonight's agenda and will be voted on and discussed in further detail. We did have one discussion item, and that was to authorize the search for an assistant engineer in lieu of a geographic information system analyst in the Public Works Department. We discussed with Commissioner Guyon his request for authorization to move forward with the search and ultimate filling of the vacancy in the assistant engineer position. After the resignation of our GIS analyst recently, the position was reviewed, and it does not provide the support needed to efficiently complete engineering-related tasks, including support for the town engineering position. There is an approximate $12,000 gap between the GIS analyst salary level and the assistant engineer salary level, which has not been budgeted. However, that's by the time that's based on a full year. So by the time the candidate is identified and hired, it'll only be for a portion of the year. But when that time comes, Commissioner Guyon will return to the committee and ultimately to the town board for authorization to appoint and hire the selected candidate and make any necessary budget transfers to accommodate that position. Our next regularly scheduled meeting will occur on Wednesday, July 7th. We will meet at 8:30 in the morning at the town hall, in the auditorium at Town Hall. The public is invited to attend. However, we would ask that if you do plan on attending, please contact us in advance so that we can make appropriate social distancing arrangements. Thanks.
Thank you, Jason. Christine, Public Safety.
Public Safety Committee has not met since the last town board meeting. However, in follow-up to the update on Brighton Safe Streets for All that Robin gave, thank you very much. There is motion on getting Brighton Safe Streets for All members together, those who have an interest in helping to identify pain points in the community and organize with clarity some of the areas that can be attended to, and to work then with the town highway department, public works, as well as county DOT and state DOT. This is an informal group. If people are interested in participating, they can go to facebook.com/groups/Brighton Safe Streets for All. And there is a post about the letting children walk and bike independently in the community, and a call for those who are interested in making walking and biking in Brighton a little safer for children in our community. My contact information is in that post as well. The next meeting of the Public Safety Committee will be Tuesday, July 13th at 8 a.m. at Town Hall in the auditorium. As always, matters of public safety may be brought to my attention or the attention of any member of the committee for inclusion on the agenda. We encourage folks to submit those matters in advance, ideally by about the Thursday preceding the scheduled meeting, but that is not a requirement. You don't need to be present for the matter to be addressed, although the public, including young members of the public, are welcome to and encouraged to attend. Of course, COVID-safe practices will be followed. More information can be found at townofbrighton.org/public safety committee for contacts and agendas and minutes from past meetings. And that is all.
Thanks, Christine. And thank you. Robin mentioned the press conference that Congressman Morelli had earlier this week. And I appreciate you being there. That really is a transformative project and will, among other things, transform Elmwood Avenue from a street that is unsafe for all, at least unsafe for all cyclists at this point, with that new cycle track access from the city line down by Brickstone all the way down to the 12 corners, and provide multimodal access not only along the road, but accessing, as was mentioned, other multimodal north-south facilities. It will really be the spine, the backbone, a safe spine, a safe street for all to connect in so many different directions. And the price tag was significant, but only a very, very small part of that price tag would be paid by us if the funding for the project moves forward through Congress. And I know our Joe Morelli has been supportive. I expect our two senators, Senator Schumer and Senator Gillibrand, to be supportive. And just hopefully projects like these, they're not unique, and that towns and cities and villages and rural areas across the country will benefit from the kind of transportation infrastructure projects that we're going to benefit from here. And I really hope that this is a time when federal officials, federal elected officials from both parties come together and recognize that fact, that when we spend some money to make a street like Elmwood Avenue passable for cyclists, for multimodal forms of transit, yes, you spend money doing that, but the benefits are just tremendous. And I know there are good projects like that across the country. It's really important that legislation move forward so that projects like ours can move forward.
That is very exciting. Absolutely, Bill. And I want to thank Mike Guyon for jumping on that project so quickly when the opportunity to apply for the funding came up. And I want to thank Jim Pond, the director of Monroe County Department of Transportation. Jim is an avid cyclist himself, so he understands that transportation is not just on 4 wheels, it's also on 2 wheels or on 2 feet. And having a mindset like that at the helm of our county Department of Transportation really helps support what we're trying to do right here in Brighton and throughout the region. So it takes all levels and all the professionals and the politicians to get it done.
I'm really glad you mentioned Jim, because he is. I mean, you will rarely see someone in a transportation area is passionate about a project that isn't just another highway project. And this is not just another highway project. And Jim is, you know, he brought it to us. Mike jumped on it. I jumped on it. We all saw the benefit that this project can bring. So thank you, Jim. Thank you, Mike. Like as we were talking about earlier tonight, this is a project that isn't going to happen overnight, even when the funding gets approved, as we hope it will. But when it does move forward, it will be transformative. And the next Public Works Committee meeting will be when?
July the 6th at 9 o'clock.
Perfect. Thanks.
And we had our meeting June the 1st, and I reported on that very lengthy meeting.
I'm sorry, that was a bad segue to Public Works, but yes, you jumped on it. Thank you.
But all set, Bill.
Okay, thank you, thank you. It's, you know, that project really bridges public safety and public works, and
yeah,
thank you for that. Okay, moving to new business. Jason, reading and approval of claims.
Yes, Bill, earlier today I reviewed claims totaling $1,383,058.66. Notable claims include to the City of Rochester Fire Department, the amount of $385,149, representing the third quarter payment for the contract for the West Brighton Fire Protection District, less the 2020 maintenance costs that were spent for the West Henrietta Road Firehouse by the town. Also to Hanson Aggregates / BR DeWitt in the amount of $25,716.47, representing payment for asphalt road materials for paving and patching. Also to Mengel Metzger Bar and Company, Ray Wager Associates, in the amount of $22,000, representing the final payment for the 2020 financial audit and single audit per board approved contract. Also to Paris Kerwin Associates, in the amount of $207,933.03, representing payment for refuse 2021-2022 liability insurance for the period of June 1st, 2021 to December 31st, 2021 for the half year. And finally, to Roman Construction Development Corp., the amount of $160,517.70, representing payment for 2021 Consolidated Sidewalk District Repair Program pricing as per approved contract and the 2021 through 2023 CIP. The claims all appear to be in order, and I move that they be approved.
Second, Robin.
Thanks, Robin. And all of those claims and more are all included with the materials tonight. We have a motion to for the reading and approval of those claims. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DeFonzio.
Aye.
Councilmember Werner.
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt.
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado.
Aye.
Supervisor Manley.
Aye. Robin, why don't I have you do the next two?
Sure. On the matter regarding the approving the appointment of Laura Poe to the position of part-time office clerk 4 in the town clerk office, I move that we adopt the resolution as prepared by the town attorney. Should I read the next one or should we?
No, we can do them separately. Can I get a
Okay,
second
great.
on that?
I'll second, Jason.
Thanks, Jason. Dan, you want to?
Yeah, well, we had a couple. Had two openings actually over the course of the pandemic, and since the doors were not open to the public, and we were able to help everyone through email and phone and whatnot. They gave a little bit of flexibility with having a couple of less bodies in the office, but I think now that once we've opened the doors and we have the phones and the emails and the U.S. mail and the people at the counter, we really need that those extra bodies here to be able to help everybody. And Laura is coming to us after a successful career with the county. She had retired and decided she wasn't done yet, and still wanted to give back as a Brighton resident to her community, and excited to have her join the team.
Thanks, Dan. We have that motion was seconded, and any further discussion on that? Hearing none, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DeBonzio.
Aye.
Councilmember Werner.
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt.
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado.
Aye.
Supervisor Manley.
Aye. And Robin, you can do the next one.
Okay, the next matter is to approve the appointment of John Muir to the position of part-time Office 3 in the town clerk's office. I move that we adopt the resolution as prepared by the town attorney.
Second.
Second, thank you, Chris. And Dan, I'll let you update this one too.
Yeah, again, so the same basic story. John was here, used as a temp last winter during the town and county tax season. And then again, once the pandemic hit, I left that position open. Brought him back again to help this town and county season. And then when the other part-time position in my office chose not to return, John has proven himself to be very helpful and quick study with everything here in the office. So bring him over from temporary to permanent part-time.
Fantastic. Thank you. Any further discussion or questions on that? Hearing none, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DeBonzio.
Aye.
Councilmember Werner.
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt.
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado.
Aye.
Supervisor Maley.
Aye. Chris.
Bill, the next item is to authorize the relocation of 3 Cobra head light poles to accommodate the sidewalk construction on Elmwood Avenue in an amount not to exceed $12,000, and to authorize any necessary budget amendments. I move that we adopt the resolution before us.
Second, Christine.
And this is all in connection with that sidewalk project that we've talked about on the north side of Elmwood from Eastland down towards around the Fairfield area. Any discussion on that? We did have a good, robust discussion at the Public Works Committee. Hearing none, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DeBonzio.
Aye.
Councilmember Werner.
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt.
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado.
Aye.
Supervisor Maley.
Aye. Christine.
The next matter seeks to authorize the supervisor to enter into an agreement with Emergency Enclosures Incorporated for emergency call-out services for a term of 1 year with 3 optional 1-year renewals. I move that we adopt the resolution before us.
Second, Jason.
And we've worked with emergency enclosures for quite some time. It is helpful to have an identified contractor in advance so that if there is a need to, in the case of an emergency, a fire or something else, to enclose something for purposes of safety, we know who to call. Any further discussion, Mike? Anything more you want to say about that?
No, I think you covered it very well, Supervisor.
Thanks. Then if there's nothing more, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DeBonzio.
Aye.
Councilmember Werner.
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt.
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado.
Aye.
Supervisor Maley.
Aye. Chris.
Bill, the next item is to authorize the supervisor to renew an agreement with Scanex Pipe Services INC for rehabilitation of the sanitary sewer system for a term of 1 year. I move that we adopt the resolution before us.
Second, Robin.
And this again, Scanex, we have worked with for some time doing the sewer rehabilitation work, and after some issues, if I recall, with a previous contractor, this contractor has worked out better. And I'm sorry, Chris, you made the motion, and was that Christine that seconded?
Robin.
Robin, okay. Thank you, sorry. Any further discussion on that one? Hearing none, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DeBonzio.
Aye.
Councilmember Werner.
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt.
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado.
Aye.
Supervisor Mealy.
Aye. Jason.
Yes, the next matter seeks to authorize an increase in the number of work hours for the part-time clerk 2 position in the sewer department from 20 hours per week to 25 hours per week. I move we adopt the resolution as prepared by the town attorney.
Second.
And the correspondence talks about why we're doing this, because although we started this position at 20, the work, really, there's more to do. We've got someone that can do a lot of work for us, and it's 20 hours is just not enough to get it all done. And the cost impact is set forth there in the correspondence. Mike, anything else you want to say?
Just that the additional hours will greatly help assist us with our paperwork and documentation.
Paperwork, I'll do it every time. Good. We have a motion and a second. Anything further? Any further discussion? If not, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember Werner. Councilmember DeBonzio, you first.
Aye.
Man, I almost.
Councilmember.
Ooh, big
Aye.
seniority shift here.
No slight meant to the gentleman from Boston College. Councilmember Werner. Sorry, Chris.
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt.
Aye.
Oh, brother. Councilmember Corrado.
Aye.
Supervisor Mealy.
Aye.
Can you tell it was a 17-hour day yesterday and 12-hour day today?
You're doing pretty well. Robin, if you would take the next one.
Certainly. The next matter seeks to authorize the supervisor to accept funding from the Rochester Monroe County Youth Bureau for the Positive Youth Development / Community Service Initiative for 2020 in the amount of $7,085 and to accept future funding from the agency to said initiative. I move that we adopt the resolution as prepared by the town attorney.
Second, Christine.
And again, this is a program we've been engaged with for many years, and it supports some of our Brighton believed collaboration with the school district. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DeBonzio.
Aye.
Councilmember Werner.
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt.
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado.
Aye.
Supervisor Mealy.
Aye. Why don't we go to Chris on this one, please?
Next item, Bill, is to set a public hearing for proposed amendments to the town's comprehensive development regulations related to telecommunications, and direct the planning board to prepare an advisory report on the proposed amendments and direct the town planner to submit the required development referral form and documents to the Monroe County Department of Planning and Development to review pursuant to General Municipal Law 236M. I move that we adopt the resolution before us.
Second, Robin.
Thank you. As you know, we had retained counsel to work with us on these fairly extensive modifications to our comprehensive development regulations. They do relate to telecommunications, largely relating to 5G to protect the town's interests as they relate to future 5G rollout for us. And the public hearing on this one will be scheduled for the second meeting in July. And I'm just scrolling down here. What did we say that is? That is July 28th at 7 p.m. Further discussion on that? Hearing none. Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DePonzio,
Aye.
Councilmember Werner,
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt,
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado,
Aye.
Supervisor Mealy.
Aye. Jason.
Yes, the next matter seeks to authorize the supervisor to execute an agreement with the U.S. Department of the Treasury for American Relief Plan Act funds. I move we adopt the resolution as prepared by the by the town attorney.
Second, Chris.
As you know, the town of Brighton, like all other, at least all other relatively small municipalities, will be receiving money under the American Relief Plan Act, ARPA. But we receive it indirectly. The state receives money from the federal government and then they distribute it to us. Part of that process, believe it or not, is they ask us, hey, do you really want this money? And the short answer is yes, but we will have to sign the paperwork that's attached to this. This is compares to the process for municipalities with a population over 50,000 who will receive money directly from the federal government. But again, no surprise, I very strongly recommend that we accept the money that we will be getting under the American Relief Plan. And we have a motion and a second to that effect. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Dan, please call the roll.
Long answer was also yes. Councilmember DePonzio,
Aye.
Councilmember Werner,
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt,
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado,
Aye.
Supervisor Mealy.
You can take the boy out of the lawyering, but you can't take the lawyering out of the boy. Aye. Matters of the supervisor, we have our May expense and revenue report. And I will ask for a motion to receive and file that.
So moved. Jason.
Second, Christine.
And is there anything, Paula, you would like to say about the report?
No. Next month,
Next
you know,
month
so
is the big
is
one.
our half year, and there's some revenue information we'll be going over, and it's going to be a little bit better, I think. So
Yes, it is. Yes,
Mhm.
it is.
Yep.
All right, then can we have a motion and a second to receive and file that. Any discussion? If not, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DePonzio,
Aye.
Councilmember Werner,
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt,
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado,
Aye.
Supervisor Mealy.
Aye. Matters of the town attorney, Ken.
Yeah, so I do have a brief report tonight. And for once, it doesn't have anything to do with litigation. It doesn't have anything to do with really any projects in the town. But it is pretty significant news. If you've already heard it, I apologize for repeating it. But big announcement today out of the governor's office that after this Thursday, there will no longer be a state of emergency in the state of New York. I'm sharing my screen now from the website of the Committee on Open Government. Authority for remote meetings ends June 24th. So as of June 25th, that's Friday, open meetings law again requires all meetings to be held in person. So this is it, folks. This is our last Zoom town board meeting. And we'll be seeing you all in person at the next town board meeting. That also will hold true for our planning board, zoning board, and all of our other boards that hold public meetings. Those now effective Friday, June 25th, will need to be in person. So we're fine tonight. Historic Preservation Commission, which is scheduled to meet remotely tomorrow night, June 24th, is fine to do it virtually, but thereafter, back to live and in person. I'm looking forward to seeing all of you. and sitting across the table from you. And it'll help Dan keep straight who he's asking for a vote from, I'm sure.
Thank you, Ken. Anything further?
That's all I have.
All right. Speaking of the devil, matters of the town clerk.
I just want to thank all the inspectors that worked yesterday and our coordinators that traveled around town and made sure all the inspectors needed what they needed throughout the day. We had 3 new sites, which were hugely helpful. We've been at St. Thomas More for quite some time, but this year we also began at their sister parish, Queen of Peace on Edgewood, which was a fantastic room that I look forward to being in for a very long time. So thanks to Margaret and the staff over there. They were really great. We're still not able to be in St. John's Meadows just yet, just with obviously with things not back to normal. But we moved across the wetland to Brickstone. And the Winter Garden is an amazing room. If anybody's looking to hold any events, I know they do have outside groups in there, rent that space out. And it's a great room. You got a little patio overlooking a little pond and fountain too. So you got some great ambiance there if you want. But great to have the space in there. I don't know that we will be there in November. It kind of depends on how the world's going. I love the room, love the parking, but really one of my concerns is I don't want to make it any more difficult for the residents of St. John's Meadows to be able to get over to the polling place and vote. And while, St. John's was great about transporting people over there on yesterday, really ideally, we'll be back at Chestnut Court, but to be determined. And then lastly, again, replacing a site we lost to COVID, we moved into Faith Bible Church on East Henrietta Road, into their amazing new gymnasium they built a couple of years ago. A fantastic room again. Could have a lot more capacity if we had anywhere else to consolidate people into there, but it was a great room, and thanks to Pastor Bob and his staff over there for welcoming us. And both Queen of Peace and Faith Bible, when I went through, visited all these sites with the Board of Elections folks, and Brickstone for that matter too, the staff from Board of Elections, the Service Center, walked into these rooms and were just in awe of these spaces because they're in a lot of terrible places across the county. And they were like, let's move everything here. From everywhere. They were super happy with all 3. So, so I just thanks again to the staffs of those locations and the inspectors. And, we'll take a little break and fire all this back up again in a couple of months to get ready for November.
Well, as I said before, Dan, thank you for all the work you did primary election day yesterday. Do we have a voter turnout percentage? No.
I haven't seen anything out of the BOE yet.
All right. Matters of the town board. We have nothing for executive session tonight, so can I have a motion to adjourn, please?
So moved.
Second. Chris.
Dan, please call the roll on that one.
Councilmember Anzio.
Aye.
Councilmember Werner.
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt.
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado.
Aye.
Supervisor Manley.
Aye. So again, our next board meeting will be Wednesday, July 14th at 7 p.m. in person. And for those of you that have forgotten where in person is, that'll be right here at Town Hall, 2300 Elmwood Avenue. And we really look forward to seeing you there. Have a great evening, everybody. Stay safe. Happy 4th of July. Remember, again, we have our 4th of July celebration 5K race. Sign up now. The 5K will be at 8 in the morning on the 4th of July out at Meridian Center Park. At 8 in the evening, but get there earlier, the Sky Coasters, some great rock and roll, some great fun. And at about 10 minutes to 10, to cap off a wonderful Independence Day, our annual fireworks. Come out, stay safe, have fun, and we'll see you at our next board meeting, July 14th. Have a good evening, everybody.